So sit in any part of India, you will still get access to very high quality doctors and high quality healthcare through MediBuddy.
At some point, we saw advertisements with Amitabh Bachchan on it, and this is unique. I don't think as a first year student you would have ever thought that you'll run a brand where Amitabh Bachchan is your brand ambassador.
No, but I just want to add to this one. I think but it's fun.
Hi, this is Amrit. We are at IIT Madras, my alma mater, and India's top university for people who like to build. We are here to meet some builders, ask them, what are you building? What does it take to build? And what makes IIT Madras the best place to build?
Hello and welcome to the Best Place to Build podcast. Today I'm sitting with Satish, the CEO and co-founder of MediBuddy, India's largest digital healthcare platform, and also a student here from 2007 to 12.
Yes.
And also a very original OG CFI member.
Thank you, Amrutash. Thank you for inviting me to the show, and great to be here, actually.
Satish, I want to start with this memory that you and I have
Yes.
from 2007 October.
Correct, yes.
Where we were sitting in SAC.
SAC.
We were in SAC, and one of the projects
Correct.
was demonstrating something.
Yes.
And the whole of Insti had turned up, including the director and some of the props. So
Absolutely.
tell me what you remember from that moment.
No, absolutely. See, I had just joined IIT, and of course, fresh, just joined the college, so with a lot of hopes, actually. And this was Shaastra, the technical festival, and they had demonstration of, that is called Quadcopter that time.
Yeah, Quadcopter.
Quadcopter, right? And so today I think it's very easy. People buy all of this very easily and then play with drones. But think like 2007, right? And it's an engineering marvel, I would say. An engineering marvel. So I just joined electrical engineering, second month of college, and people talked about this project that's there, and it's a great project in the Aero club or something like that. And so we were in SAC, and if you remember, like the whole Quadcopter just took off.
Yeah.
Because we just did not believe that it will work.
Yeah, today it's so obvious that people have seen drones or
Yes.
drones fly all over us.
All over us.
But on that day,
Yes.
to see that drone,
Yes.
today we call it a drone,
Yeah, but the
to just lift
Lift
off,
off.
was amazing.
amazing. And I would argue, right? I would say, I think a lot of my engineering, let's call it love, starts there from that very moment. And I think since then I've been part of all the technical festivals, Shaastra from after that.
When you were a student.
I was a student here in the process.
You were also part of the Want to Fly club, right? Which was one of the first CFI clubs.
Correct.
Can you tell us what that project was about?
So think about this. Essentially, it was part of the Aero club. So we fully designed a radio-controlled aircraft. So a lot of these aircrafts are primarily built using balsa. It's actually a light wood for that, mostly used for all aircraft building. Let's say primarily used for lightweight, and then a lot of design has to be done on building a full aircraft from scratch. And Want to Fly was the name that we kept for that one, and that is subsequent to the year that this Quadcopter was there. And so hence, and that happened for like 2 years since then.
Yeah. And just to clarify, the building we are sitting in, the Center for Innovation, didn't exist.
Yes.
Right? So you're talking about two projects that happened before Center for Innovation started.
Correct.
And then these were the first projects that moved over to the Center for Innovation.
Correct. Absolutely correct. And all of this was happening in other places. If you know, there's a mess, and the mess was cleaned up and used as the let's say workshop to build those Want to Fly. And I mean, now facilities are much better. At that time, you had one mess, bunch of tables, and then you get started. That's how we got started on the Want to Fly project. And I still remember, right? We had to go to director and request for budget. So we made a full presentation,
And asked for like 50,000.
Yes. No, it is still better, I think. I think we got 6 lakh rupees at that time. A lot of money, but primarily for building out the full Want to Fly, we had to import a lot of instruments for the same. and then a lot of the other items we got in India. So, but great times. I think my start to engineering and building stuff sort of starts with my first radio control aircraft that we built out.
That's so cool. So as students, as a student, watching other students build something and then building yourself,
Yes.
all the way now 15 years later, you are leading India's largest digital healthcare platform. That's a long journey. I want to trace it.
No, absolutely.
Maybe we can start on the other end. And can you tell us what MediBuddy does?
No, absolutely. So I think, so let's think about this way, right? So access to healthcare is a very large problem in India, right? And my idea was that how do we use technology? Because all of us now use mobile phones, internet, all of that is actually second nature now. So how do we use digital platform? How do you use the digital technologies and create a platform on which access to healthcare is very easy? And that's exactly what MediBuddy is trying to do. So very simplistically, see, I think today we go to, you want to go to restaurant, you go to Zomato and check them. You want to book a ticket or you want to get a hotel, you just go to Make My Trip and you get all of it very easily done on that platform. If you want to go find a doctor at Apollo Hospital, Medanta Hospital, Max Hospital, or you want to get a blood test done at any of the diagnostic centers like Lal or Metropolis, or you want to get your medicines delivered, what is that platform that you would go to? And that's exactly what MediBuddy is trying to be. And today, access to healthcare in very big city is doable because there's a doctor, hospital nearby. But think about India, right? India is very, very large, lot of patients in very, very small town. And for them, in my mind, the exposure to the world is the mobile phone and potentially the internet, right? So sit in any part of India, you will still get access to very high quality doctors and high quality healthcare through MediBuddy. And you can talk to a doctor on a video call, you can then book an appointment, go meet him in person, get medicines delivered anywhere and get blood tests done anywhere, right? So that's exactly what MediBuddy is doing today. And the hope is that across India, we give the right information about healthcare and we are able to solve the biggest problem in the healthcare ecosystem, because building a hospital in all parts of India is very tough, but potentially MediBuddy will reach every part of India.
You gave us a sense of what the product does and what your services are. Can you give me a sense of the scale of your operations?
No, absolutely. So today MediBuddy is one of the largest healthcare companies in India. We are, see, when we start, of course, we're very small. Today we are close to 2,000 employees, primarily based in Bangalore. So we have around 15, 16 offices across India, and we help more than 3 crore patients across the spectrum. And on one side, of course, we have a lot of these patients who come onto our platform and use multiple healthcare services. And on the other side, we have close to 100,000 plus specialist doctors on the platform, 7,000 plus hospitals, 9,000 plus diagnostic centers. We do medicine delivery pretty much everywhere in India, around 19,000 plus pin codes. So very large scale on the supply side, we call it. So one is demand and another is supply. And the idea is how we connect patients with all of these benefits. And then also a lot of work that we do on data and the AI that we'll do in some time. Yeah.
Okay, we'll come to the AI last, but it's so curious. I'm so curious to know from all this data, can you give us some like overarching medical trends in India? Like what are the top things that people suffer from? What are the top blood tests that are, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows, but I'm just curious.
No. So I think it's a fair question, right? So how has India progressed, right? So when we broadly call it, one is called communicable diseases, one is called non-communicable, right?
Okay.
So in simple terms, see, we still had a lot of health issues which we call comes because of, let's call it water, air, food, and this essentially
Preventable.
a part of what we call as developing countries, right? Okay. And I think we are still significantly getting there, and a lot of vaccinations have sort of helped, and GDP growth primarily helps in all of them in the process. The second stage is called non-communicable. That essentially is when you start getting chronic disease like diabetes, hypertension, all of them. So you see change, right? And as we speak, it's, of course, the NCDs are growing much, much faster. And COVID really brought focus on healthcare in the minds of a lot of people.
Right.
I think health is very important. Everyone should take care of it. But some of these large changes that happened is because of COVID. And then since then, right, a lot of focus on preventive healthcare. We call it wellness and preventive healthcare has also started. And people are starting to do what we call as annual health checkups seriously. Once a year they do to find out whether they're doing well, areas to do. And then of course, there are multiple things to do. Vitamin deficiency are big to focus on, and weight is a big challenge to work on. But I think overall the focus on preventive as well as focus on health across the country has improved significantly.
Nice. And your product must be also changing to sort of accommodate for this change.
Yes, absolutely. So we do across the spectrum, right? So you can do what is called as preventive, then of course curative. So in preventive we do everything, right? Right from helping people manage their exercise, food, which is dietitians, then manage of course your sleep, and then mental health, then all the way, then go till you meeting a doctor, getting medicines, getting labs. If you have to get admitted in a hospital for getting a surgery, and even that is also helped through MediBuddy. So a full spectrum that we help today across.
Where you are now seems like you have taken a long journey. So why don't we trace back to the day you entered IIT and go from there?
No, absolutely. So, see, I think like all students, I think interest in engineering might be IIT and IIT Madras is like definitely a place to be. And I was actually fortunate that I got into IIT. And then, so the good thing about IIT is it gives you like multiple options to explore, of course, along with your studies for that matter. And then I got here, I had a lot of more interest in maybe engineering, science, and of course, some part of literary work that I did also. And so first couple of years was part of CFI, did a bunch of projects, right, across robotics. And that's also where I then was part of Aero Club, led Aero Club.
Actually, at that time,
Yes.
I think CFI was it was also a very rebellious thing to do because the professors didn't really like it, and you had to sort of hide away your time, and you had to find money to do things.
Yes.
Today it feels like an officially sanctioned.
Yes, very large project, and with all the blessings of the director and IIT access. No, see, I think that is true, right? So when I think we used to actually spend all evenings here, and pretty much sometimes we used to actually sort of sleep in the in CFI itself, right? And then you go back very late in the morning, early morning, and then try to get to the class. And sometimes profs used to say, "What are you guys doing in this workshop?" So. But we liked engineering, and we just liked tinkering. We just kept building stuff, but I think by the time third year or fourth year happened, and they could see the scale of the projects that came and the complexity of the projects that came out, and by the time I think profs like started saying, okay, good, these guys are doing something sensible, and it's not just theory; they're doing something practical also, and it works. Okay, and I think things got better since then, right? It's more about once you start seeing some of the results, people really appreciate it, and then of course it also invites more and more people to sort of join. But we were happy at all points of time.
In your fourth year, you were talking about a TI project that you were working on.
Yes. So by the end of like fourth year, we actually participated in a competition called Texas Instruments Analog Design Challenge. So I did my final year project also in analog design. So a lot of interest in chip design and electronics. This project was something that we did on healthcare. So what we did was I and Inba. So he's also my co-founder now. So of course that's how things got started also. So we did a project where, in simple terms, we had built a Health IoT. It connects to your heart and collects heart signals, and it runs an algorithm on these signals which will tell you whether you're having a heart arrhythmia. It means essentially, are you having a heart attack or not? And then they'll connect your phone, and this would send the report from your phone to the cardiologist. And
you know, I've heard of devices like this where people who have a mild heart attack, and their surgeon tells them, you know, just wear this for a week. I want to see when all you get arrhythmia. Is it something like that?
Okay, it's not exactly like that. You can't get me every time, but what it means is it's called Holter systems, which essentially you wear for might be sometimes 24 hours,
Okay.
more time. But it's a slight variation to that. But of course, think like it's a project at college, right?
Correct. This is like 2000. We are talking about 2011.
2010, yeah,
Okay,
2009, 10, 11, that time, and project that we built, and we have also sort of done some amount of testing at Stanley Medical College. It's a very good medical college nearby, and so it so happened that we were national winners in this competition.
As a final year students.
As a final year student, like fourth year, like fourth year, pre-final year actually, and interestingly, the prize money was also pretty decent. We got $10,000 prize money when you're in, I think, fourth year. But interesting thing is that again increased enthusiasm and interest in building more and more in engineering, and because of that, I started thinking and reading and understanding more and more about healthcare, and because of the healthcare project, and then subsequently when I left IIT, I then went and joined another healthcare company, and then a lot of what I do today sort of starts from there.
Did you I know that Satish and Enba, you know, these names are always taken together.
Yes.
You were batchmates.
Correct.
Did Enba also have a similar journey?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Enba is from Chennai, and then both of us met at IIT and same class. In fact, let's call it a couple of roll numbers next to each other, and sort of same hostel, couple of next rooms, right? We call it dorm rooms or hostel rooms. So I and Enba sort of pretty much started together. I think similar enthusiasm in engineering, playing football, same hostel, same roll numbers. So and yeah, right from 2007, I think we have been tinkering, and we're part of same CFI, same projects that we did. Oh, there are a bunch of other guys also, but primarily we hung around, and this Texas Instruments project also we sort of did together. The Want to Fly project also we sort of did together. So by the time we were leaving IIT, we thought, okay, we should do something interesting in healthcare, and so that's why when I sat for placements, I got a job in Philips Healthcare. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But Enba got a job in Qualcomm. So he was also doing chip design, and Qualcomm does a lot of work in chip design.
These are both top jobs, right? It's not like.
I think it was good.
I mean, it would have been a struggle when you quit those jobs, right?
Yeah, that's always true, right? In fact, Qualcomm job that Enba got, we were thinking that, hey, now that we have done a lot of projects, we did a lot of tinkering, we should do something in healthcare, because of the Texas project also was in healthcare. So I was okay sort of going to Philips Healthcare, but Qualcomm was not healthcare, right? So in fact, Enba didn't take up the Qualcomm job, and he went and worked with, actually it's there now, it's called Healthcare Technology Innovation Center.
HTIC.
HTIC. Prof. Mohan runs that, and Enba did a lot of projects with Prof. Mohan, so he worked with HTIC. And in fact, he built out what we call as, in the year after IIT, it's called diabetic retinopathy. So in simple terms, anybody who has diabetes, it will affect their eyesight, and your diabetes can potentially affect the retina. So Enba built out technology as well as a product which will help in, we call it DR detection, diabetic retinopathy detection. So that's a work that he was doing.
Is this a vision project? It sounds like a vision project.
Yeah. I mean, essentially for the eye, and that product is now public in the market, and the technology was transferred from HTIC to another company, and they built it out from there. The same time when Enba was in building the diabetes product, I was at Philips in the cardiology section.
Okay.
So Philips actually makes what we call as cath lab machines. Again, in simple terms, anybody gets a heart attack, they do an operation called angioplasty. So they put a stent in the heart, and that is done using a large machine called cath lab.
Okay.
So I was in the design of cath lab, and so that's also my introduction again further to healthcare.
So Enba was working with Professor Mohan in HTIC. Of course, HTIC has become quite big now.
Very big now.
And we had Professor Mohan as a guest last year.
Nice.
We went into a long discussion about the state of healthcare in India. It's a great podcast.
Okay.
And you were working with Philips. At what point did you decide to start a company? And also, like, my related question is, what was the first product you were building?
Yeah, I think both of them, right? So one, see, at Philips, I was actually spending a lot of time with doctors, hospitals, patients, OT, right, operation theaters, and lot of understanding about on-ground healthcare challenges, issues that you face in hospitals, the amount of distance that patients would travel to reach to the hospital. So all of this is sort of my learning about the real challenges in the country. And I think 1.5 years we worked at Philips. Imba was working with on the diabetes product, and we used to always exchange notes. Of course, continue to keep chatting with each other on what's happening in. And Philips, he would talk about diabetes problems that he is facing on the ground, and really interesting work, right? That is also when you would not believe WhatsApp. Okay, there was once upon a time there was no WhatsApp.
Difficult to believe, but
there was once upon a time there was no WhatsApp. So when I used to hang around with these doctors, so if you go back and study, right, doctors were one of the earliest adopters of WhatsApp, and the reason for that was before WhatsApp there was just no way to send a report or an X-ray of a picture of an X-ray back to a doctor, and somebody would have to do the full test. Somebody would have to go to the office of the doctor, or if he goes back home in the evening, then you have to send the person to send the X-ray to the place. Doctors were using a lot of WhatsApp, and how I learned about WhatsApp was I used to do what we call a second opinion for cardiologists. So doctors from smaller towns, I used to help them because I was based in Pune, Bombay. So a lot of top doctors were there. Doctors from smaller town used to send me, of course, ECG as well as reports, and asked us for second opinions from senior cardiologists. And I got a call from a doctor in Trichy, and I was in Bombay, and he asked me, hey, I have a second opinion that I want, can you get it from a doctor for me? And I told, okay, please send me an email. What happened was, of course, he told, hey, I don't have an email, but then I asked him, how will you send me? He told, do you have WhatsApp? And that's the first time I'm hearing WhatsApp. Yeah. So I asked him, what is WhatsApp? You know what he told me? He told me WhatsApp is ECG sending software. Because think about it, right? There is no way for you to send a picture or a PDF report before WhatsApp, right? You can't send an MMS, but it just doesn't work after that. So, but then I installed WhatsApp, and of course, world is of course very different today. But this is the introduction for me to how different tech solutions sort of transform industries, right? And that's where I understood that access to a doctor is a challenge, and what if a platform can be built where you connect a patient with a doctor and very simplistically have a chat, call, video, ability to share, then also go down and meet the doctor later whenever you need to meet them in person. And that's how the first product starts. So it started something like WhatsApp for patients and doctors, but you have a payment gateway in the middle, right? So that's the first project that got started. And so then we were leaving IIT, leaving Philips, leaving this thing. So when we came back, we initially thought, okay, let's go back and revive the project that we did for TI. So that Health IoT product. So that's why actually we restarted that product. And when we went to, of course, we built it for the first 2 years, 1.5 years. This between 2013, 14.
You were building a hardware product.
We were building a hardware product. The product that will connect your heart, collect ECG signals, connect the patient with the cardiologist.
Okay.
So we went back and rebuilt that as a full product, met a lot of cardiologists, talking to them about the hardware and the software. But that's exactly what I also sometimes tell a lot of other startup entrepreneurs, right? You have to follow the customer, and you have to build something, and when you talk to the customer, you'll understand what they like, and you also understand whether they want to use that, right? What happened after that was when we continued to build this out and show to doctors and patients, pretty much there are a lot of interest in the software part of it and the hardware that we build, right? They told, hey, this is okay, but why does the software only connect cardiac patient to cardiologist, why can't all patients talk to all doctors, right? So that is how the initial change in the product actually happens. So since then, we continue to build out the software part of it. And today, of course, MediBuddy can connect to multiple healthcare IoT solutions. But that is how the initial transformation happens, from hardware plus software to pure software that we continue to build.
If I listen to what you're saying is that you've built a hardware device which had a software component.
Correct.
But when you went to the market, the software component was valued much more than the hardware
Absolutely correct.
component. And then your company just became the software component.
Correct.
And if I remember right, I think I might have met you once or twice in the 2014-15 period when you were still in Research Park.
Yes.
You had an office in Research Park.
Correct.
At the time, you were called DocsApp.
Yes.
And that's like, it sounds like...
Now you can tell. So we were very, very innovative, right? We took WhatsApp, removed the what, put doc there. so that is how the word DocsApp comes. Essentially WhatsApp for doctors and patients. So that's how the word initially was coined as DocsApp, connecting patients with doctors. You can do chat, call, video. Patients can be from any part of India. Doctors are going to be in the top 10, 15 cities. And you can talk to doctors across multiple departments. It can be general medicine, it can be pediatrics, gynecology, dermatology, neurology, any of them. And that's the first name or the first product that we launched called DocsApp.
At the time when we are talking about, at the time there was a wave of telemedicine apps, not just in India, across the world. You know, we were listening to this doctor in Brazil and patient in Uganda, or patient in Brazil, doctor in India, that kind of thing. It was just like a, I think maybe it was fueled by the explosion of internet and 5G and all of that. For
3G that time.
3G
that time.
Is that correct? Is that the period we are talking about?
Yeah, so it's little late, right? So a lot of healthcare and telemedicine, see, we started in 2015 and we launched it, right? But we were slightly early. A lot of this explosion happened closer to 18, 19, and then COVID again pushed it up. So,
sure. But I mean, it must have really helped your funding journey and the part where your company is valued by someone else from the investor community.
Correct.
The global explosion of telemedicine must have really helped.
Would help, yeah. So I think, see, so if you think about it that way, every industry has gone digital, right? That's how you see e-commerce is Flipkart, and then there is Zomato in the food industry. It can be Make My Trip in the travel industry. It can be Book My Show in the cinema industry. And so this has been happening in all countries. Take US, see, I think 3-4 countries that you can always learn from is, one is US, one is China, primarily. A lot of innovation happens across these two, and then small innovations happens in Southeast Asia and other markets actually, right? So all of these industries have been going digital, and healthcare of course sort of follows in that format. And yes,
fair enough. You're saying there's a digitalization, there's a platformization that's expected in the healthcare. It came at that point, and you were a little ahead of the market.
So a little, I think we are 2-3 years ahead. So, but I think that also gave me the ability to build and then identify the right customer, right cohort, follow the customer, get the right product, business model ready. And when things took off, I think we could catch the wave very early. Yeah.
That's a fair thing to say. I was just, as you were saying it, I was thinking that if you enter a business at the wave, it's actually really tough because you have no time to build, no time to think.
Correct.
And I've also heard this from Tarun, who was also in CFI at some point of time.
Yes.
And
same class, same batch, yeah.
And Tarun from Aether, and he said to me once that because they were early to EVs, they had a good amount of time to build their product from scratch and think about everything. And the companies which came
little late
at the EV wave, they really struggled, and they had to sort of acquire products, rush to the market, and then have problems in
later on.
Yeah.
No, it's true. I think that's also why we have got a very solid foundation, and then we continue to build. And that's also why, even though post MediBuddy, a lot of other companies also had started, but pretty much very, very small. Many of them do not exist today, or we're far ahead of most of the other players.
Fair enough. From DocsApp being WhatsApp for doctors to MediBuddy, it's a big expansion. It's a full platformization. Earlier it's just messaging, connecting. Now a lot of other things have happened. So how would you describe how your product strategy has grown
Yes.
and how your product portfolio has grown?
Yeah, see, the way to think about all business primarily and all product is what internally we call it, right? Follow your customer, right? And when we started, the problem that we solved was one very important but narrow problem called connect patients with specialist doctors. Patient can be anywhere, doctor is in the big city. So the problem statement was chat, call, video. But as soon as that got done, patients, when they want to talk to doctor, the doctor gives you a prescription. Then they would ask me, hey, can you deliver me medicines? So then we started, okay, good. That means one part is done, but as soon as you meet a doctor, doctor gives you prescription, you want medicines. So we built a full medicine delivery supply chain and then started delivering medicines for patients. Then again, you have to build it in one city, then you have to grow and then deliver pan India. Along with that, doctors would say, hey, why don't you also do a blood test? Right? You want a prescription, you will get medicines, you will get labs. So then patients asked us, okay, why don't you give us labs also? Why don't you tell us where to go? Or why don't you send a person to your house, right? We call it phlebotomist, who will come to your house, pick up the blood samples actually, right? So that's the second thing that we added. So you started online, you don't do medicines, you did labs. Then again, when you keep graduating, patients say, hey, I've met the doctor on the video call, but I would also, all problems cannot be done on a video. So I want to go meet this doctor in person, right? You want for pediatrics, for complicated health issues, you want to meet the doctor in person. So then we enable that also. That means you could do video, but by the by, you can also book the appointment, go meet the doctor at his hospital or at his clinic. And people from smaller towns could then first talk to the doctor, get the second opinion, then have a sense of what is the problem, then travel to the city, right? So that kept adding up. So we just kept adding, and that's why then at a later stage, of course, we did a lot of M&As also. We bought a few companies because when you want to grow fast, sometimes you also do a few buyouts also. So we did all of that over the course of the journey of our company. And by the time we were like 2019, we understood that the name, I mean, we had grown much larger than the word DocsApp, right? So it looked like an application and only for doctors. So, but we had medicines, we had labs, we had a lot of preventive healthcare, wellness, and all of them. So then, in a way, the word MediBuddy is more broader, right?
Correct.
It talks about, it's like a buddy for your healthcare needs. And trust is very important in healthcare.
Fair enough. And DocsApp sounds like WhatsApp for docs.
So that's why the word MediBuddy makes might be a larger sense for the company, and that's the evolution of a company, right? You should always keep following a customer, and then whatever they want, continue to keep building, and business will naturally transform and grow in size and scale from there.
When you were a student, you wouldn't have had this wisdom, right? When you started up, you built something, you want to take it to the market, you want customers to appreciate you for what you brought. Okay. Who is advising you and who's giving you this gyan of go listen to the customer, and how did you transform from that arrogant student building a robot to a
See, I think in a way, necessity is the mother of invention. In different terms, see, you have to know that customer is number one, right? And if a person is actually ready to pay you money or pay you whatever the payment that they want to do, they expect that the product or the business or the solution delivers value, and this is very true. And you spend a lot of time, right? See, it takes time to figure out what customers want, and very important to exactly build that one. You might start with an hypothesis, which we have done a lot of times, right? We start with an hypothesis, we try it out. When things don't work, you clearly know, right? I mean, we say that if things don't work, you change your inputs, and a lot of this is just learning. And of course, I should also say that when I started out, right, IIT Madras sort of gave us the incubation. So
you guys were one of the first
first
cohort of incubators, along with Aero.
So Tarun, I think that year we had 10 companies, if I remember. 10 companies were actually chosen, and each of them got what we call a seed money. We got around 5 lakh rupees as the initial, let's call it, investment or support from IIT Madras. I was there, Tarun was there. So I think we pretty much started building together. Of course, he was building EV, I was building in healthcare. So when we did that, along with that, I also met a lot of great entrepreneurs and large IIT Madras alumni. So I should definitely mention Anand Rajaraman and Venki Harinarayan. So all of them also sort of gave initial thoughts on building, product, business, market, strategy, all of that. So a lot of this is, of course, you are on the market every day building, talking to customers, and you're also talking to large entrepreneurs before you. And yeah, over time you fall down a couple of times, you get up, you continue going. Yeah.
Nice. Anand Rajaram and Venki Hariharan are, of course, are very famous alumnus of IIT Madras.
Yes.
I had the luxury or the privilege of interviewing Anand Rajaram earlier this year.
It's a small world. I think pretty much you have talked to everybody. You talked to Prof. Mohan, you talked to Tarun, you talked to Anand, you talked to Prof. Kama. So I think
Anand and Venki sold a company to Amazon and then sold a company to Walmart.
Yes.
So
yeah, they did Jungly to Amazon. I think another company, Cosmix, to Walmart actually.
yeah, now they own a cricket team.
Oh yeah. He's been telling me, why don't you come see the matches? But of course, I have to go sometime. Yeah.
Did IITM also help you in your funding journey?
Okay, so
It's like 5 lakhs is not enough to build this.
yeah, I think that's why I always say, right? I think it's more, what's more important is, the amount might be initially small, but the idea is somebody seeds it, somebody gets started, right? We always say the first yes is very important. And when I was starting out, I and Inba, when we were starting out, right? And I was at Philips, and you were asking me, right? Of course, I resigned from Philips. Inba was working on the diabetes product in Chennai. He also resigned from the job. It's not easy, right? And because you at IIT, you're very good.
Lot of expectations.
But you're a very good job. They pay you pretty decently well. And then suddenly we say, okay, no, we're going to leave this and sort of start something. And you also don't know, right? Like when you start, you really have no clue about how things will turn out, because sitting there, I can't see that I think I'll be doing all this, I and Inba will be doing all this, right? But when you start, it's very important that what we call as angel investment or the initial investment are very critical and might be small, but it makes sense, right? But if you go back, that's also why, after we were doing decently well, I and Inba decided that we should give back, right, to IIT. And that's also why when we gave roughly 14 crores to IIT, one of the things that we had told was, we might have got 5 lakhs, but the world is different now. What if we give 10 lakhs every company, right? And if it is 14 crores, you can potentially seed 140 companies in simple terms, right? Which means, I really understand, right? Startups are tough, okay? And success ratios are, let's say 1, 2, 3, 5%, right? But what's very important is, if I can at least think, right, of the 10 companies that they initially seeded, I and Tarun at least are doing decently well, is my sense, right? Tarun went IPO, I think both of us are in decent places, right? But potentially this, if you use this 14 crores, help 140 companies, a few of them will do well. 1 to 2% will do extremely well. Like another 3-4% will do well.
I want to tell you that Professor Kama, in the last event, alumni event, he said that he wants by 2032,
yes,
he wants 1 IPO per month.
Yes.
So the pressure on CFI students is somewhere else now.
No, it's good, right? It's good. I mean, you should do. I think, that's what I told you. What's important is the first investment. The first yes is very critical, because that helps people get off the starting, let's call starting trouble, or the start line, right? And I'll be very happy, right? And at least all of us are doing in different shapes and formats. Out of the 140 companies, 14 will do very well, 2, 3, 4 will do amazingly well. And they will come back and help more companies, and you'll set off a chain reaction. And hopefully by 2032, we have so many companies in India. And we have a lot of problems to solve. What do I think about India is, I think in the world today, India is the place to be. And the kind of problems that we face in India, if we solve it, the good things are we can build affordable solutions at scale, and our UPI has shown it. That's exactly what MediBuddy wants to do. And if you can do high quality solutions, products at scale, potentially we can take these products back to the world, right?
Sure.
Initially, we used to build a lot of products in other markets, bring it to India. But this can go back, and I think that transformation will potentially happen in India in the coming 10 years here.
Nice. Yeah, fair enough. I think 10 years back we used to say, who's going to build the Uber of India? Who's going to build the Facebook of India? You know,
Now the world uses UPI, right?
Yeah.
so,
who's going to build the UPI of US?
US, that's a question, right? It'll happen, right? That's happening already.
Maybe we'll just, it'll be us.
It'll be us. And that's the intention, right? Yeah, all of this sort of helps in the funding journey. So I got there, then of course, kept building. Initial investment came, then we got angel investors, then we kept building. We got a lot of investors from Japan, then we continued to keep building. We grew, then we had large investor. We had Rebright partners from Japan, Bessemer Venture from US.
These are big names. Like these are top tier VCs.
No, absolutely. See, I think, the focus is more on the customer and the business, right? You continue doing that, and because you want to grow aggressively, expand services, right? When I was doing only online doctor, teams were smaller. We were, I think, 100 people that time. I added medicine delivery, then you added diagnostics. Suddenly we became 300, 600. Sure. We acquired another company. We built it out together. That scaled further. So
you're also saying that the investors are echoing the trust because you are listening to the customer and the customers are giving you that trust.
Yes, and then it's clearly seen in the way the business is growing. And today, I think, if you look back, right, I think though there are a lot of other competitors by far, right, I think MediBuddy will be much larger than like 5-6x the next player and potentially 10x the third player, right? So that's clearly seen in the customer obsession and of course, relentless execution, I would say, onto the market, but also understand the nuances and insights of healthcare, right?
In this pivoting journey, it's also possible that entrepreneurs who are starting now, they're very aware that, oh, I have to pivot, I have to listen to the customer. They may also end up pivoting too fast and listening to too many customers or listening to customers too much. That opposite problem is also there, right? So how do you know how much to listen to them, when to take advice from your customers, when to sort of fall back?
So it's actually a very, very important question, and every entrepreneur goes through this, right? Because you need to definitely listen to a lot of people. It can be your customer, sometimes also to other large entrepreneurs, but also at sometimes follow the gut, I would say, right? See, this is something that you build over time, right? And I would not say I've mastered it, but I think I have a fair sense of it, right? But there are 2-3 things that I've always told people, right? One, of course, listen to the customer. But the second thing I always say is, well, I'll tell you this, right? So when I left IIT, Tarun, Tanmay runs Hazura. So we're all friends, right? And then we had gone to Ahmedabad. And with Tarun, we stayed at Tarun's house. So, and a bunch of other guys also there. And this is just after IIT because we had a lot of enthusiasm in understanding business. And we thought Gujarat is a place to learn business. So we went on a road trip.
But Tarun is not from a business family, right? Is he?
I think Tarun's dad also runs some business.
Okay.
And then we went on a road trip. And then there's a lot of places in, of course, Gujarat. We went to tile factories in a place called Mobi, I think it's called. Then, of course, Surat, you've got diamond factories and diamond merchants. We also met solar power plants, all of this, right? So all of these are large entrepreneurs who are running these factories or all of them. See, one thing that I learned, and I think there's a line in Gujarati, and I think it's in Rajasthani also, which says, loosely translates to Jahan bhi baito, hazar din baito. What it means is, and very simplistically, whatever you do, you continue doing for 1,000 days.
Yeah.
Now, I think when I first heard this, I thought, oh, why do you need 1,000 days? I think you can do things faster.
I think this is a Marwadi community quote.
It's a quote like that, right? But when I came back, this is like, I not even started. I got out of IIT, went to this road trip, went to Philips. 1 year later, 1.5 years later, I left and started out. But if I go back and think, right, from the first time that we got started, by the time we got the business, the product, a lot of these things in place, it pretty much took 2.5, 3 years. So sometimes I tell people also that, see, it's a thumb rule. See, you don't know what's the right answer, what's the wrong answer. You have to live the journey to understand it. But be there, right? Like just be at it minimum for like 3 years and potentially after that, right? You'll figure out something and then listen to what you say, what other people say. By the time you'll get a real sense of what you should be doing. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So you're balancing two ideas. One is that you start somewhere, you have to keep changing to your customer's needs, you're listening to your customer.
Correct.
Very, very rare that the first product is exactly what the customer needs.
Correct.
And in fact, Tarun also started with battery swapping and then moved to electric vehicles. Of course, their electric vehicle, vehicles they're building is also changing to customer needs.
Okay.
And on the other side, you are saying that, hey, stick to your position for a while.
Yes.
If you don't give it enough time, then how do you know whether it works or not?
Correct. See, I think this is called ability to discriminate what I should do, what I should not do, which I should listen, which I should not listen. See, I think that an entrepreneur has to learn, and pretty much nobody can teach you, right? So you have customers, you have investors, you have shareholders, you have boards, you have markets, you have competition, and all of them will give you multiple signals. And it's prerogative and it's important that you have to hear all of this, but you still have to take the call, right? And you'll say, I will do this, I will not do this, I'll change my plan, I will not change my plan.
In fact, even in IIT, as a student, you have a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
You have to be able to say, I want to do these things and not do these things.
See, I think it's life, right? And a lot of this you learn with time, and the results will teach you, right? If you wanted to get to something and it is happening, then you're in the right direction. If it is not happening, of course, you need to change your course and get to a place what you want to get to. And I was very clear, right? You want to build a large company which will help patients across the country. My first idea was to actually initially, I was also thinking, should we just build a hospital? So hospital is amazing, right? You build a hospital, but the good thing about hospital is it provides you doctor, lab, medicines, everything. But the one that I was not very excited was it doesn't have scale. A hospital is in a location, in one geography, so contained in one place, but does it help patients across the country? Then the idea is, can you build hospitals across the country? It's very difficult to do this, which is why I thought, okay, then a digital platform is better than a physical platform or physical company, and build from there. So all of these are calls that you take over time, but you will get there. If there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are listening, you will get there. Just be at it. So.
I want to switch tracks a bit. And at some point, you rebranded to MediBuddy.
Yes.
And we saw advertisements with Amitabh Bachchan on it. And this is unique because in my mind, most IIT startups are very B2B, very industrial.
Correct.
We met so many startups. The last interview we did was with Daniel,
Correct.
who runs Detect Technologies. They don't need a lot of visible marketing.
Correct.
But your company is very market facing and
customer face. Correct.
very customer facing. So can you, I mean, I don't think I've got to ask this question at all to anyone in the last 20, 30 episodes.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah. So how do you go through a sort of mass market rebranding and marketing strategy?
Yeah, so I think I'll talk more about two parts. One is about healthcare and some insight from there. Then of course, when a company wants to go to large set of customers, what they need to do and how to use TV as a medium for that. So first, see, one thing that's important about healthcare is trust is very critical. So you know, right, you want to go only to a trusted doctor, trusted hospital, trusted lab. And the way to build trust in India is just by showing number of years you have been there. You've seen a lot of companies, no? They'll say company name since 1956, right? Now, which means what? Trust was sort of built by being in the same place, being there for many, many years. But when you think about new age companies like MediBuddy, how do you build trust in relatively very short period of time? Even today, already it's like 10 years, but what would you do to accelerate building trust, right? So that is where it's important to sort of think about whether we could bring in a brand ambassador which could build that one, right? And in my mind, a couple of things that I had kept as requirements, right? One, who is synonym to trust in India? There are hardly there are many people who will by the very face of it provide you trust. And second I wanted was somebody who would be known pan-India, right? Because I have a lot of customers in big cities, but a lot of customers in very, very small town. And think Jammu Kashmir, think Kanyakumari, think Gujarat, think Arunachal Pradesh, right? So across spectrum. So I wanted somebody who could crisscross. Not a lot of faces are there.
Basically like either a film star or a cricketer.
Yeah, you have only two options now in the process. So actually if you do this, right? So that's when then we thought, okay, it makes definitely sense to sort of work with, of course, a great actor, of course, the most well-known face in India. So that's how we decided, okay, we'll use Amitabh Bachchan as our brand ambassador, and that will help us in continuing to build first trust. And then second part I was telling, right, every business at one point of time, depending upon the nature of your business, if you're direct to consumer, you're having a lot of customers who are using you on a daily basis, and it can be doctor, lab, medicines, many services that we continue to build from there. So you need to be in front of them, and you need to build the right brand proposition as well as the right brand image. It takes effort, time, planning, execution at scale, cost, but if you have to be a pan-India product, a pan-India solution, I think that's the right way to sort of go. And that's how we thought, okay, the right brand ambassador, the right campaign around it will sort of help us get there. And we are very happy, right? We are very happy that we have been able to do this. We have been very happy that a person in a small town, when he looks at MediBuddy, now there is trust that I can go to this place, find the right medical advice for myself or my family member. And I think it's more about the company and the industry that they are in. But if you want to do things at scale, you should not be afraid. You should, of course, test and test. Okay, we have done a lot of small testing before. So you do it without having the large, let's call ambassador. You do it in small formats, understand. We call it rinse, repeat, right? Test, rinse, repeat. You do it again, and then you go at scale. Yeah.
Very nice. In this context, I want to ask you that because you're a product builder.
Correct.
You started from there, hardware product, software product. You're scaling the software product. In both hardware product building and software product building, a lot of people believe that the product will speak for itself, and we don't really need that much marketing, and then we'll have a lot of word of mouth. If the product is good, customers will come. So now you're saying that, hey, but if you want to grow really fast, then you need to find a shortcut, and then marketing is like a short. Is that right?
See, I think I'll tell you, right? It's very important. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs will find it in very soon. See, initially we all think that product will take you to the customer, but actually you need to have a good handle of what we call as distribution, right? And of course, marketing and distribution, sometimes people use it synonymously, but I use it differently, right? So I'll talk about that also, right? So distribution means how do you find your customer, or the customer finds you in the right economic manner, right? You need to also find the customer, means essentially we call it customer acquisition cost. We call it CAC, right? So in all digital businesses, distribution is key, right? A lot of founders either find it early or they find it late, but they'll find it that is critical for them to become very large. So that's exactly what MediBuddy also did, right? So when we started out, now we have had the privilege to have worked in across multiple distribution channels. So what I mean by distribution channel is, how do customers find you? So one common thing that we all understand is customers find us through any digital channel. You can be on social media, and then I will run ads on it. You'll see me on the TV, you'll see me on YouTube. So what we call as direct to consumer is one channel. The second channel that we have is called as corporates. So that's another channel that we had built out, which is if you work in any large company, it can be any of the large IT, ITES, it can be banking, any of them. Your company uses MediBuddy, and you can use MediBuddy through your corporate, and the payment is done by the company. So it's called corporate channel. 3, we also work with large insurers. If you buy a health insurance policy in India, that insurer again works with MediBuddy, and through the insurers, we have a lot of customers who come and use our platform. So you can see, right? And then we also work with large NBFCs also. So which means these are called different distribution channel. So you have a great product, right? But how does the world know? That is marketing, right? But how does it reach the customer at the place that he is?
Sure.
That's called distribution. So both of this is exactly what is critical for scale. And you will learn it, and you have to learn it over time. Yeah.
I spoke to one of our alumnus called Ambi. He's a marketing expert.
Okay, yeah.
he remembered you and he said, "Oh, Satish, tell Satish I said hi."
Of course, Ambi is of course doyen in marketing. So when I started thinking about marketing, brand campaign, Ambi actually came to our office and did a workshop for us.
Okay.
And when I chose, of course, Amitabh Bachchan as the brand ambassador, I spent some time with him understanding what is to be done, how do I think about this, how do I think about brand, how do I think at scale, how do you think about, we call it media campaigns. So, of course, great. That's it. Now, the benefit of IIT Madras is that many alumnus in that many different industries. And of course, I've talked to all of them to get more and more insights, and they've helped me significantly in my journey.
So Ambi said once in his interview so we did an interview on Best Place to Build. We couldn't do it here. We did it in Tor,
Yes.
In Bangalore during the Sangam event.
Nice.
So at one point I asked him this question about what do businesses who believe that products will sell themselves. He said, let them believe that.
You will very soon understand that you have to build distribution, you have to build marketing, and it's critical. Yeah.
And just for my own curiosity, and maybe audience will be curious to know, how does it feel? How is Amitabh Bachchan like on set? Right? How has that experience been? And it must have been different, right? I don't think as a first year student you would have ever thought that you'll run a brand where Amitabh Bachchan is your brand ambassador.
No, definitely. See, I think we have absolutely no understanding about marketing, branding, and all of them. See, I think one thing that, of course, struck me is, right? See, they have achieved so. I mean, he has achieved so much, right? And look at the span, right? Look at the number of years in the industry that they have been, but the amount of effort that they put even today, right? We have what is called as, we had 2 rounds of discussion pre-shoot, and he initially wanted to meet us and meet me and understand about the business first, what I was doing, what does the business do, and what are the plans for this business. Then of course we had pre-shoot discussions. But I would say I was inspired by the meticulous nature as well as the hard work that they put even after being
At the top of
the top of the game, right? Top of the game for so many years. They're superstars for so many years. All of India knows it, but still the effort that they put, right? Every single day on every single shoot, on dot, right? I mean, I think we're ahead of time, ahead of schedule. The amount of inputs that they give on the campaign, on the script, all of them, it's unbelievable, right? And sometimes you think, they don't have to do all this. They've got everything that they need. Everybody knows them. They're the star. But I think they still go back to the craft, and the respect as well as the effort that they put in their craft is unbelievable. I think that is something that I took away. And of course, you have to do meticulous planning across the spectrum. You have exactly set number of hours, right? You start, you end, and there are a lot of paraphernalia around it, right? You need to get the shoot. So it's a, I would say, we call it checklist manifesto, right? You have so many things, you manage all of them on time, but great experience. We did shoot 2 times, but great experience overall. Yeah.
This is nice. So you started as a student, you were a CFI kid, and then you also worked in your lab in electrical engineering.
Correct.
You won a competition in your final year,
Yes.
had a top job, left it, started DocsApp, which eventually morphed into MediBuddy. And now you're operating at a scale where there are 3 crore patients using your platform.
Yes.
It's amazing. I really want to understand, I think my checklist manifesto of whatever I wanted to talk to you is done, but I really I'm very curious about what other things you have as a message for us, our viewers.
See, I think I have 2-3 things I wanted to talk about, right? One, if you're a student, I think be enthusiastic, learn as much as possible, and IIT Madras is a great place. Some of you should definitely join IIT Madras and do great stuff in your life. That's for like sort of students. Be curious, right? Just be curious, just learn as much as possible, and then keep tinkering. See, see, as we speak, we're sitting in CFI, right? This place, it definitely will look a little messy, right? When you walk in, it won't be spick and span. And I was just telling, we were talking just before this conversation that, see, building, right? When you start a company, a lot of things in your life is not necessarily super clean, right? It is never a straight line in life. And it is just a lot of ups and downs. But and when you look, initially it look very messy, right? When I was starting a business, when I was starting a product, when you go to a new market, it's pretty messy. But what's important is you just be at it. So a lot of this is following the customer, like I talked about, just be at it. You will build what we call as your ability to take decisions, and some will go wrong, but more often than not, you get a lot of them right, and then you pretty much build from there. So if you're running a company, running a startup, get started. I think that's what I always tell. India has a lot of problems to solve, and we are in the right time, right? A lot of things are going well for the country, and we have a lot of opportunity ahead of us, and a lot of these problems we have to solve. And I'm of course, I'm solving in healthcare, solving in EV, so many things to do, right? So right time for India, and I believe, right, a lot of times we used to think that a lot of products are made in the West and that's brought to India and we adopt solutions from there. But what India is doing today is what we call as leapfrogging, right? A lot of this we will leapfrog, and we know how to build at scale at the right cost, right? And that's exactly what the opportunity is ahead of us. So hopefully we continue to build, and in my case, I want to see how we solve healthcare in India. And my view has been always to see how do we make high quality healthcare accessible to like 1 billion people across the world, right? And potentially we will be able to do that and make sure that people are happy, people are healthier, families are happy to do, right? Yeah.
I want to push you a bit in this. I'm on your side, by the way. We're on the same side.
No, definitely.
When students join IIT Madras or at an undergrad level or at a postgrad level, this is a ticket, right, to prosperity.
Yes.
And it's very difficult. I mean, it's very tempting to think that, hey, I'm here, I will do my course as well, I'll get a good job, whatever, NTI, Qualcomm, I can stay there for 10, 20 years.
Right.
I'll become a VP, maybe I'll become a CEO, I don't know.
Yes.
Have a good life, you know, maybe a valley life.
Absolutely, go to the US.
Send my kid to an international school and then for an undergrad to whatever, MIT or something.
Yes.
This is a very different life.
Yes.
What is it, I mean, I've seen so many people from IIT Madras take that decision that we don't want that life and we want to build, and it's, as you said, it's very messy, and
Correct.
It's not just the place that is messy, but it's also your thoughts are messy and the organization is messy for a while.
Correct.
How do you gather the energy, the strength, the courage to take that journey?
See, Amitabh, you know, right? I think in my class, so when I was getting into IIT, six guys were like sort of friends. This is just before IIT, right? You're studying for your IIT coaching classes and all of them. Out of the 6 guys, except me, 5 of them are in the US. So it's think like your school mates or school friends, five guys, 5 boys going to class and studying together and all of them. 5 of them are in the US. I'm the only guy sort of in India. But see, think like this, right? And when I was at IIT and graduating, pretty much a lot of our friends, a lot of my classmates are pretty much in the US, right? Of course, a bunch of them decided to maybe not go to the US. See, there is no right answer to this, right? I strongly believe that you should do what you like, right? You should be happy doing what you're doing. And I was happy building, when I started out also, right? It's also not very, you don't know, right? Whether like things are going to be like perfect, when I'm leaving a job, right? You're doing a very, very well to do and decently good paying job. You're leaving it, you don't know what is going to happen. But I think what I have seen repeatedly is, see, do what makes you happy in a way, right? And you have to find that space. It's like this, no, is it tough? Yeah, startups are tough, businesses are tough. I think it's tough. But are you happy, right? It's like some combination of what we call as you are at the happy place. in spite of having so many challenges, things to do, scale, schedules, all of them, but you're happy. So I think there is nothing called right answer, wrong answer. So a lot of my friends in the US, whenever I go there, they meet me. Some of them are in Singapore. I think everybody has a way to do, but I believe everybody should contribute in their own areas of interest, and that's absolutely okay, right? See,
so no pressure.
You should not, right? I think do very well in whatever you do, right? And be top in that area.
I was talking to Andrew sir, who of course Andrew sir is elect prof.
Yes.
I asked him, why does electrical engineering have a reputation of being such a difficult program? And he said electrical engineering is difficult, and then he explained it, and then at the end he said, yeah, it's difficult, that's why we like it.
See, I don't know whether that's the right way to think. See, I also did electrical engineering. Compared to other courses, it is actually a tough course, right? Sometimes when you compare that, okay, hey, this course is so easy, man, that department is so easy. But see, I don't know whether I like it because it's difficult. We just like it. Okay. I and Inba sort of like it. And so we like building, we like healthcare, we like technology, we like patients, we like doctors. So we just liked it, right?
Nice.
There is no right. It's not like you like it because it's tougher. You just like it because you like it. So there is no answer to that actually.
That's just a beautiful quotable quote.
Correct.
I want to say one last thing before we close on this idea of being messy. I remember when I was in campus, and maybe when you were in campus, Professor Anant was our director.
Prof. Anant was there.
And he's so amazing, right? He had this way of speaking where you'd just be mesmerized.
Yes.
I remember him saying once that a building site, I think he was quoting someone else, but he was saying a building site is messy
Yes.
till the very last day you put on the paint.
Yes.
So it's like 5 years and 4 years and 11 months it's messy.
Yes. No, that's absolutely true, right? I think that's what we need to understand and accept, right? Because initially when you start, it's very true. Whatever you build, if you look at the room that somebody is painting, so you look at a painter, right? And if you look at the room that a painter is in, it looks very messy, right? There are like colors everywhere, like canvas everywhere, things are like all over the place, but he's doing stuff, right? But finally, the day when you see in the art gallery, it's like amazing painting, right? But go back and look at the process of that, right? And this is true in everything. If you go and learn about how music is done, right? Music composers do, it's very messy. They do something else, they do something, they leave it for 3 days, 5 days, they come back, it's sometimes 6 months, and finally you suddenly see something amazing. And it's true in construction also. I mean, and that's exactly what happens in business also. It's not like on day one you exactly know what will happen and then you do execute. You make a bunch of mistakes, things change, markets change, businesses change. You know, right? If markets change suddenly, public markets change, private markets change. What was amazing yesterday may not be amazing today. Requirements in the market changes.
Especially if you work in a partly regulated space.
Yeah, and then trust is there. There are a lot of partners, right? Yeah. Doctors have work, pharmacies have different models. So you have to work in the right spectrum. So I think that's why it might be the word messy looks bad for some people, but might be there's a better word for it. But it's not linear, right? You go, it's got its own craft, right? But I think I'm very comfortable with it because you won't have a clear sight to everything, but you already know, right? It's like this: you're climbing a mountain, you know you have to get to there, but the path that you take, sometimes you go left, sometimes you go right, things like that. You're doing hiking, right? You can't never be sure about exactly the right path, but you know, okay, broadly that's where I have to get to. When you get there, you know, okay, this is what broadly, okay, then there's a next step to go to, but that's a process, right? And you have to get used to it. I think CFI helped me with that, right? And a lot of initial building helped me with that because when things don't work, okay, I'll tell you, till you're in IIT, I had this rule that any problem, I and Inba had this rule, that any problem you have, we will solve in 48 hours. It used to be a joke actually, but mostly it's electronics and technology and some circuit and all, it's not working, some code is not working. So we had this thing that in 48 hours it'll work actually. And it repeatedly happened. So we thought in the real world, 48 hours mein kar denge. 48 hours. Then I go to Gujarat and understand, not 48 hours, please wait for 1,000 days. The world is different, right? But this is what happens, right? And then now I have fair confidence that it may not work now, but just give it some time, it'll work, right? But as long as you're on
you have to be okay with the messy part.
You have to be okay with the messy part, right? You have to be okay with what we call as you're not clear, the system is not clear. You have to be what we call as okay with ambiguity. And you have to have ability to hold your decision in abeyance, I call it. You can't, see, a lot of people want do yes or no, right? Give me answer, do this or do that, or should I do this, should I not do this, right? Sometimes you don't know. So you have to be okay with holding that ambiguity for a finite period of time, because you're still thinking, right? Should I do this? Should I do that? Collect information. But someday you have to take a call, right? And that I think the entrepreneur has to do, because otherwise things don't move. And the final decision you will take at 60-70% visibility. It's not like you'll have 100% visibility at any point of time. And if you're having 100% visibility to take a decision, you're already late to the game. So 60-70%, you take a decision and you go with it, right? So that's
Okay, folks, that was a great conversation. Let's leave on that thought. Entrepreneurship is messy, building is messy, chaotic. It's not going to be linear. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs, a lot of changes. Listen to your customer, make those changes, but stay in your place for a while also. And thank you for watching. Any last thoughts before we close out?
No, but I just want to add to this one. I think, but it is fun. and do what you like to do, and you will be very happy. And at the end of the day, it makes sense, because, see, what I wanted was, making healthcare accessible is very important, right? And that, when it helps like millions of people today, that they get the right doctor, right healthcare, that makes me happy. And so that final thing is more important than, okay, there are challenges, but that's okay. But that's more important, right?
Are you saying that the value of the impact is very important?
Is important, right? So I think that is what is the worth, right? Might be, that is critical. And so don't worry so much about the challenges, but it helps a lot of people. And that's more important, and that's what MediBuddy wants to do. And that's what I and Inba started out doing. I think this is what we'll continue to do for many, many years to go. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down. You know where to find Enba and Satish. You can download their app. You can find them on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for watching.